1432, 1433, 1434, 1435, 1436, 1437, 1438, 1439, 1440, 1441, 1442, 1443, 1444, 1445, 1446, 1447, 1448, 1449, 1450, 1451, 1452, 1453, 1454, 1455, 1456, 1457, 1458, 1459, 1460, 1461, 1462, 1463, 1464, 1465, 1466, Santo Anduba, Anambra South.
Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, my name is Santo Anduba, representing Anambra South, Equatorial Zone. Mr. President, I stand up to move that votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 19th of December 2017 be adopted. I so move.
Senator Clifford Odia, Edo Central.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Clifford Odia, representing Edo Central Senatorial District. I rise to support the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 19th December 2017 be approved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 19 December 2017 is hereby approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 19 December 2017 is hereby approved. Announcements. Letter from Mr. President. Distinguished Senate President, appointment of state resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission. In accordance with provisions of Section 1541 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, I write to forward herewith the names of 9 resident electoral commissioners appointed for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the consideration of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1. Elder Monday Udo Tom, Commissioner, Akwa Ibom. Baba Abba Yusuf, Commissioner, Borno State. Eric Olawale, Commissioner, Osun State. Dr. Uthman Abdurrahman Ajidagwa, Commissioner, Kwara. Mr. Shegun Agbaje, Commissioner Ekiti, Dr. Cyril Omorogwe, Commissioner Edo, Yaya Bello, Commissioner Nasarawa, Dr. Emmanuel Alex Hart, Commissioner Rivers, and Mohammed Magaji Ibrahim, Commissioner Gombe. The curricular vitae of the nominees are attached herewith. While thanking you immensely in anticipation of the early consideration and confirmation of the above appointment by the Senate, please accept, Mr. Senate President, the assurances of my highest esteem. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. Petitions? Yes, Senator Aliu Sabi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I have a petition from one of my constituents named Kabiru Umar Farouk, who was a former staff of PHCN. He is petitioning the Bureau for Public Enterprise for non-payment of his severance package in line with the privatization of the PHCN. Mr. President, if I have your leave, I would like to lay the petition.
Yes, come and lay the petition. Petitions referred to ethics and privileges. Report back in 2 weeks. Senator Mao Habwana.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Senator Mao Habwana, representing the entire people of Abia North Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to present you 2 petitions from my constituents. One is from a constituent of mine, Mr. Madu Abuchi Achara Jacob, against the Nigerian police for unjustful disengagement from the force after an improperly constituted orderly room trial. Mr. President is asking the Senate in its usual manner to look into his case and ensure that justice is done. That is number 1. Number 2 is from a constituent of mine, Engineer Maurice Okoro from FR Petroleum Limited, against NNPC for unjustful taking over a legally procured contract. Mr. President, these 2 petitions are not encumbered in any way, and if I have your permission, Mr. President, I want to lay them.
Yeah, come and lay the report. Petitions referred to ethics and privileges. Report back in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Yeah, point over there, Deputy Senate President.
Order. Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I call specifically under Order 42 and 52 of our standing rules. Mr. President, Order 42 is in respect of matters of urgent importance, and 52 deals with dispensing with issue of notice. And it is with utmost concern I'd like to seek your indulgence to raise the matter of the detention of Mr. Innocent Chukuma, whom we call Innocent, by the EFCC over a matter that is purely commercial between Mr. Innocent Chukuma and the GTB. And if I have your permission, I can proceed with more of the facts.
Distinguished colleagues, in line with our rules, we will need to seek the leave of our colleagues. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Deputy Senate President.
Distinguished colleagues, at the inception of this Senate, we all took oath to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And one of the most important articles of this Constitution is the one that deals with the liberty of our citizens. And God forbid that a day will come when we sit by as a Senate and watch an attack on the liberty of anybody in this country. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, yesterday I got a number of messages indicating that Mr. Innocent Chukwuma was arrested by EFCC over a transaction between him and GTB Bank. This morning, I made an effort and I spoke with him. His story is straightforward. He said he was in his house at 5 a.m. yesterday morning when he heard gunshots and he thought they were assassins. And so he went into hiding. After about 2 hours, by 7 a.m. in the morning, through the window, he saw some people wearing police uniform. And he thought that help had come. So he came out from his hiding and ran to the policeman, who promptly arrested him. And now he tried to find out what was his offense. And they told him that when they get to the police station, they will inform him of the offense. As of today, he's still in detention, and nobody has told him what actually is the offense. If you look at Section 35, Subsection 3 of our Constitution, it is clear and it provides that any person who is arrested or detained shall be informed in writing within 24 hours and in the language that he understands of the facts and grounds for his arrest or detention. As I speak, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Mr. Innocent Chukwuma is here to be informed of what transpired or what led to his arrest or detention. But if you go through the media today, the story is that he's owing GTB Bank. As a lawyer and as a parliamentarian, I'm at a loss how a commercial transaction between a customer and his bank will involve EFCC or any law enforcement agency. And if we reduce our law enforcement agencies into agents of debt recovery, then we are doomed as a nation. Mr. Innocent Chukwuma is one of the greatest industrialists we have in this country today, employing over 50,000 people. We are talking about unemployment, and these are people who are helping us address the unemployment issues in Nigeria. And in front of his staff, both local and international staff, he was bundled like a common criminal for a mere transaction between him and his bank. And the story he told me is that he's not owing the bank anything. He borrowed money from the bank, which he has since repaid. And the bank kept charging him money and deducting money from his account. And so he promptly reported the matter to the bank, and between him and the bank, they set up an audit. And the auditor came to the conclusion that the bank had deducted by 500 million naira. And so the bank was ready to pay, but he was insisting on 22% interest on the deductions because the loan he got from the bank was at 22% interest. And so the bank said they were going to pay 7%. So that was where they had the disagreement. Innocent Chukwuma now went to court. And the court gave judgment in his favor at the Federal High Court, at the Court of Appeal, and the matter is presently in the Supreme Court. So the fact that the matter is already in the court, and the fact that this matter is a commercial transaction, gives no room for the intervention of either EFCC or any law enforcement agency in this country. So I would like to appeal to this Senate to intervene to ensure that Mr. Innocent Chukwuma is released promptly. This is the motion, and I appeal for our colleagues here to support this motion before we kill the enterprise of a man who has served this country so much.
Senator Baribe.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. One of the real problems that we continue to face, and I'm sure each and every one of us, if we're not careful and deal with this issue, we will all ourselves, each and every one of us, fall victim to this. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, it was a principal officer here that was invited to EFCC. That matter, I'm sure we're going to bring it up later. But this emphasizes the fact the EFCC, what we don't know is exactly what motivates them today. We have looked into this innocent motors matter. Actually, EFCC in its own Twitter handle said that they went to arrest him because that they invited him and he refused to come. And the man said, I didn't get any invitation from anybody. Who is now lying? The EFCC will lie and put it on your head. And because they have the means of coercion, then they now take 4 truckloads of policemen, EFCC personnel, to go and arrest a man innocent in his house. Another incident happened in his house. The wife asked the question, why are you arresting my husband? What has happened? And they slapped her. I'm telling you that these are the facts that have been given to us by this family. The point that we want to make is this, and this point is very clear. How can a commercial transaction between somebody and his bank, the bank is owing the man, and the man says to the bank, okay, since we have reached an agreement, you charge me 22% on the loan. I now want you, when you're paying me back, since you're owing me, pay me 22%. Bank says, no, I will pay you 7%. And now goes around to use EFCC as an instrument to coerce the man in order to accept whatever money they want to pay. The point really is, how can state institutions be used for personal purposes? Whether it is a bank, or it's an individual, or it's a government official, this is supposed to be a private transaction that is already in the court, which means that EFCC itself is also engaging in self-help. A matter that's in the court, gone to Court of Appeal, is heading to the Supreme Court, and somebody decides that let's go and arrest him and shake him. We're not running a banana republic, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, we must all stand up and say no to this type of impunity. And this is because we have a man there who was not cleared by this institution. Twice, this institution said no to him. And yet, some other people who own Nigeria, insist that he must stay there and run roughshod over everybody. Well, we are all waiting. Maybe when I finish, they will find one charge against me. Luckily, I'm not a contractor, so they will find nothing. But we are waiting for them, because all that this continues to do is to undermine the foundations of this country. And we cannot accept it. This government must wake up and look at its institutions and how they function. We cannot continue to shout here every day and somebody ignores it, because this affects each and every one of us. Basic rights are basic rights. They are there in the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gamade.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Barnabas Gamade. I represent Benue Northeast. Mr. President, I rise to contribute on this subject from the angle of the misuse of power and authority. Today, our economy is skewed in the wrong direction. Bankers who trade in money have become laws in this nation, because money, indeed, raw cash has become such an important commodity that those of them who deal in it have become more important than any other citizen who produces goods and services. This story, as has been reported, bleeds one's mind. EFCC could never have just got up to look for an entrepreneur like Innocent to arrest him if the bank did not come forward with some kind of cooked up reports and arrangements with specific inducement to go and deal with this man. Those who are trading in money are adding nothing to this economy. So bankers who are taking money, selling money, and making money are only parasites, feeding fat on this money economy, which is not useful to we ordinary people. Those people who are producing goods and services for the welfare of Nigerians, improving on this economy and adding to the gross domestic product are more important to us than bank managers and bank directors. I know how important CEOs of the big banks in this country have become. Some of them own properties in almost everywhere in this nation and all over the world. And you ask them, what did this man produce? All he did was he collected a lot of stolen money, kept in his bank, traded with it, and became such a multi-billionaire. It will be unfair. And in fact, it will reduce our status if we begin to name names on this floor. Otherwise, very, very attractive for one to have mentioned names. But everybody knows. But everybody knows today that CEOs of banks have become such powerful people in this nation, and they are seizing control of government institutions and using them to their advantage. I think the Senate should condemn whatever has happened to this entrepreneur who is employing over 50,000 people, giving them a sense of livelihood, adding to the economy of this nation, and building the GDP of Nigeria. And we should order that whatever circumstances, if GTB has problem with Innocent Motors, they should follow due process in dealing with the matter, and not to seize advantage of an inept institution to go and use it to stampede this poor man in accepting a deal which is practically unacceptable in normal banking transactions or normal business. I support the call for an immediate release of this man, and this matter be taken through due process and handled in a manner that's more acceptable. Thank you.
Deputy Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. I try as much as I can to restrain myself from contributing in this debate. But, Mr. President, it will sound rhapsodic if, for whatever reason, someone can withhold himself from speaking on a matter that we all know has put this country in what I can refer to as falling short of civilized standard. It's no doubt a carryover of the military mentality that is lacking in every... Attention, sir. Permission, sir. Because the first question to proceed, you are
case as an example. We all know, and it's a matter of common knowledge, that this Innocent today is an industrialist who is producing vehicles for this country. Certainly, he is not doing that alone. He must have some foreign partners. Here is a man who has a house and who has a family. Here is a man who, in his pursuit of patriotism, decided that he would not invest his money outside the country, he would come and put it in this country. Now, is there no way that you can follow a civilized standard of bringing that person to answer any question that he believes he has obligation to answer? That you must go over his fence and break his gate and molest his family in your effort to bring him to answer questions? The answer is definitely yes. There are other civilized standards. And for you to know, Mr. President, is that I kept on asking, why is Nigeria so unique? Why are we so unique? These things don't happen even in the African countries that surround us. For you to embark on crossing gate with guns and everything, it must be a very compelling security reason. It must be very compelling, not in an effort to bring somebody to answer questions. So we must admit that our procedures, which we unfortunately inherited, must be reversed in order for us to meet up with world civilized standard. Mr. President, take for example, everybody knows that Nala is a senator, lawyer, lived in Nigeria all my life. What will I do? Pilot, what will I do, sir? That will warrant you to come to my house with truckloads of policemen and army or whatever to arrest me. It doesn't make sense. The idea, and we must condemn in order for, because when Nigerians opted to go for democracy, sir, honestly, all they wanted was that they should be able to predict reasonably what will happen to them in accordance with the laws of this country. So for us to allow people to operate outside the constitution and the laws of this country to do whatever they like because they are occupying offices, I think it is wrong, I think it's condemnable, and I think we have a responsibility to ensure that we do whatever is humanly possible to reverse this trend. It is not healthy, it's anti-democratic, and it has fallen far short of civilized standard. The consequence of what happened, what was alleged to have happened in Enugu yesterday, is to send the wrong signal to the partners of this man that you are not dealing with a genuine Nigerian, you are dealing with a criminal. That is one consequence. A very unpalatable one. And we must be very careful. So on this matter, I am not on the side of who is wrong or who is right, but I am on the side that we must have a responsibility, and we must have the standard responsibility to uplift this country to the level of civilized standard. We must do that. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Senior President and my distinguished colleagues. I rise to say that once again I'm sad. And I believe my sadness percolates the entire chamber. Because when injustice is denied to any Nigerian, when injustice is fostered, to say on any Nigerian, it is fostered on all of us. And if you can take an extremely successful Nigerian, one who has the means to get the best lawyers in the land, one who has the means to media, one who can pick his telephone and call the movers and shakers of the political system, and you can treat him like a common criminal. That means all of us are in serious trouble. And I want to cite a very easy example that shows that none of us can be exempted from this threat to liberty and freedom. What will happen if somebody simply writes a letter to the EFCC and says, Senator Gershom has not implemented a constituency project that was budgeted for in the Appropriation Act. And because of that non-implementation, Senator Gershom is accused of having stolen money. And because of that, he is not even given the opportunity to say that there has never been any year since 1999 when there has been 100% implementation of this zonal intervention projects. But because of this false accusation, his house is invaded and his wife is home slapped. Guess what? I've just mentioned Senator Gershom, but that's what happened to me. Somebody wrote a letter that the constituency project in Osun Central was not implemented, and that person then argued it must be because the money was given to Senator Adeyeye and he refused to implement it. First, no penny was given to me. Second, I've never been part of any panel that awards contract to contractors. 3, although I would wish that 100% of my project were implemented, I don't control how many percentage will be implemented. And even this year, we don't know that we'll be lucky if 50% is implemented, because we're already close to the end of that budget year. And yet, people are going about the whole place levying silly accusations against those they consider they can easily reach, that is, the senators and the reps. In my opinion, if this can happen to such a successful businessman, if this can happen to a senator, it can happen to any Nigerian. And that is why together in this democratic dispensation, we must all rise up, not only to condemn it, but to do whatever needs to be done that this nonsense must stop. I believe that the EFCC is the creation of law. And the law is clear as to what issues the EFCC must address and what means they must bring to bear in addressing those issues. When a man has a commercial dealing with a bank, and when the issue is in court, what affairs of state are of such germane importance that the EFCC not only goes to the man's house, breaks his house, and slaps his wife. I wish that all the women of Nigeria will rise up to say this nonsense must stop. But even if they don't rise up, all the men of Nigeria who hold a duty to protect all the women of Nigeria must also rise up. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I want the EFCC to succeed in every aspect of its mandate. But the EFCC must not take the law into its own hand. The DSP mentioned constitutional rights of this man that were breached. They were not the only rights. The EFCC violated Section 34 of the Nigerian Constitution that have to do with the right to dignity of human life. And there are so many aspects of that section that have been breached by the EFCC. The EFCC violated Section 35, and there are so many aspects of that constitution that have been breached. The EFCC violated Section 36 that gives the right to fair hearing, and that includes fair money. And if a case was taken to court by a Nigerian, and this Nigerian won in the High Court, and this Nigerian won in the Court of Appeal, and the bank has now gone to the Supreme Court, waiting with the business of EFCC. I'm praying that by the mercy of God, we will see ourselves as the custodians of civil liberty in Nigeria, because there is no greater threat to democracy than when you can assault the liberty of free citizens. This country belongs to all of us, regardless of your party. This country belongs to all of us, regardless of which arm of government in which you serve. Those who serve in the EFCC are not discharging a greater importance to Nigeria than those who are working in the fire brigade or those who are working in the hospitals. All of us are bound by law. All of us must obey the laws of the land. And we must begin with the law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
Senator Samayaw.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. My name is Samayaw. I represent Imo East Imo State. Mr. President, you know, some of us who are very new in this chamber, we say things the way we say it. We are not too political. I want to say, Mr. President, this motion this morning is a very serious issue. And how is it a serious issue? Well, I want to ask a question. I don't even know the workings of the Senate. Maybe the Deputy Senate President who has been here for several years should tell us. The EFCC, as it stands today, does it have any chairman? That's the question. Because I know that in this chamber, the head of the chairman of EFCC was rejected during screening because of non-performance. And yet they are superintending over that agency for how many years? Mr. President, I want you to place on record that from February, some of us, you send people or lawyers to come and bail us. Because I'm sure the next thing is, when they hear you speak about EFCC, you'll form anything. I want them to plant money in my house or in my village, then I come and claim it, and village people never allow them to go alive. Because this is issue. If you look at, there's a man today, businessman from Imo State, that was killed in EFCC. The body is still in the mortuary up to today after 1 year plus. This is the kind of thing we see in this country. Why must we allow this to continue? If this Senate, I don't understand what we are doing. With due respect to my colleagues, everybody must have a relationship with someone. But what is very important is this institution. How can you, a businessman, we have been talking about promoting Nigeria, made in Nigerian goods. This man manufactures vehicles, motorcycles. He has over 5,000 people in employment. He has international partners, just like Senator Gebede said, or Professor Adeye said. He has international partners. What are you projecting before the international partners? That this is a common criminal. And the test in the economy of this country. And I want to say, Mr. President, if we allow this to continue this next, there is nothing else that will ever work. And we must take it. When you talk about impunity, is it not impunity? We rejected somebody here, yet the person has not been still allowed to. Are there no other Nigerians who are credible to fight corruption in this country? Every small thing, EFCC. If tomorrow, if a woman a man refuses, a wife refuses to give the wife the sex, they will go and call EFCC to come arrest the man. It will come to that point. It will come to that point. So why do you allow this to continue like this? An innocent man, if you're having a business with the bank, how many people does not owe him bank? The bank is owing him, and yet you go and put the innocent man in his cell. This is one issue, Mr. President, that we should do today. Nigerians will look up to us. I want to say that I support this motion all entirely. We must put this and we must address the issue of EFCC. Today, there have been a lot of petitions against EFCC. My committee on ethics have refused to invite the chairman of EFCC because before the eyes of the Senate, we have not EFCC chairman. So it is important we must take this very serious, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Bocha.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I am Senator Bocha Emmanuel from Taraba South. I want to add my voice to this very worrisome development. Mr. President, as a member of this Senate, I sponsored a motion to call for support for the anti-corruption war. But as I sat here listening to this story, I was broken. I am saddened. I'm embarrassed. I resisted the urge to contribute because of emotional outburst. The reason being that as a head of a family, for somebody to slap your wife in your presence, I'm just finding it difficult how to comprehend the dehumanizing impact of this to an individual. To a person who is not a criminal, because the person in question, I know him. I was a commissioner in my state in 1999, and I know he worked for my state. I know the wife. Now, as a parliament, Mr. President, we need to act. If truly that the wife of Innocent Chikuma was slapped by a member of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, something has to be done. Somebody must be held responsible. Somebody must lose his job. One, you leave the job and then you'll be prosecuted for assault. Otherwise, we will be wasting our time here. We are no longer statesmen if measures like this are not done. Mr. President, the American presidential system, the model which we are copying, premise the reform on the tripod of these three arms, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. In fact, we have equal stakes. We have equal stakes. It's saddening that you see members of executive sometimes refer to members of parliament as just these boys, because it's very common even in the States. So if we do not do something to protect this democracy, somebody somewhere will sit down and crumble the entire house. Otherwise, what has a personal transaction with a businessman in his bank got to do with loading so many people to go and harass such an individual? I think it's very, very disturbing. What goes around comes around. If we don't act, one day it will be late, because many speakers have spoken citing instances of maladministration on the part of individuals who are supposed to protect us. I think it's so disturbing. I actually don't want to go beyond this, but I think let it not be the beginning of another experience of a very difficult relationship between the executive and the legislature, because the executive must act and address this matter so as to restore confidence on agencies of government that are in place to function for the interests of the citizens. Let me rest my case, Mr.
Distinguished colleagues, I think a lot of people have contributed on this matter. Before we just take there are just two prayers that I see here, which we will address. But I think truly those who have contributed have raised very, very, very important issues. Because as a society that we're all planning that our country will be one that is civilized, I think this does not speak well for the country. How a private commercial transaction can now become the focus of the Economic Financial Crime Commission. I think this area is what the focus be. Whether he is owing or is not owing, I think that we must be seen to protect the fundamental rights of our individual. We have FBIs. I don't know, maybe you have seen where FBI interferes between Citibank and Ford Motors, or the Financial Crime Agency in UK interferes between a Barclays Bank, and I think honestly we're just making a mockery of ourselves, and we really need to be able to do the right thing. So we'll go to the prayers. Prayer 1 is that the Senate do intervene in the arrest of Mr. Chukwuma Innocent, Chairman, Managing Director of Innocent Motors by EFCC. And then prayer 2 is the Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crime to investigate the matter and report back to the Senate. These are the 2 prayers. So I'll take first prayer and put the question, and then I'll take the second prayer. First prayer that the Senate do intervene in the arrest of Mr. Chukwuma Innocent, Chairman, Managing Director, Innocent Motors by the EFCC. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, Committee on Anti-Corruption of Financial Crimes to investigate and report to the Senate. We have to time frame because 24 hours because he has to investigate and bring a report tomorrow. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any additional prayer? Yes, Senator Sumono.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Monsura Sumono. My additional prayer is the Committee on Women Affairs should invite the woman that was being slapped. They will be able to make a way forward.
Any seconder? Distinguished colleagues, the chairman on Senator Tinubu.
I rise to second I'm Senator Oluremi Tinubu representing Lagos Central. I rise to second the third prayer made by my distinguished colleague that the Committee on Women Affairs should invite the woman for further debate on it. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, but this is part of the investigation, so I think it's already. Yeah, I think if you permit, so I won't. So anyway, since we have a second, I'll still put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the chairman of Anti-Corruption Committee, please take note that as part of your terms of reference is also to take the point of the issue of the wife involved of Mr. Innocent as a point. I mean, the point raised by Senator Sumono is fair enough, but I believe that your committee can take that responsibility. Please, we want that report here by tomorrow and ensure to look into this thing properly. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Point of order.
Point of order, Senator Samayan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow district colleagues, my name is Sam Anyanwu. I represent Imo East Imo State. Mr. President, I want to invoke Order 42. And if I have your permission, I'll read.
Go ahead.
The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement day sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless it is satisfied that the matter is definite and
Order!
Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, there's too much noise.
Order!
Yeah, go.
Mr. President, I would like to bring up this as a formal motion. Mr. President, the last few days, the television, the social media have been awash with the issue of $1 billion that was withdrawn from the excess crude account. It has generated a lot of controversy in this country, and we are making issues that the Governors Forum gave their consent for the withdrawal of such money, Mr. President. And I think, Mr. President, it's very, very clear in our Constitution, Section 81, 2 and 3, that for any withdrawal from the consolidated revenue account of the state government or any other account must have the approval of the National Assembly.
Okay, distinguished colleagues, in line with our rules, or as common law section 42, we seek to take the leave for him to bring this under another legislative day. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So that will come under next legislative day. Thank you. Yes, point of order, Senator Nazif.
Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected colleagues. My name is Senator Suleiman Nazif, and I'm coming under Order 43, whereby the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a Senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, or no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the President of the Senate, his leave to make is sought.
Yeah, go ahead. 43. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I rise today with a heavy heart to speak with sadness on the passing away of our highly respected, illustrious fathers from Bauchi State. The Emir of Katagum, Alhaji Mohammed Kabir Umar, CON, and the late Wazir in Katagum, Alhaji Sula Katagum, OFR. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the Senate and indeed Nigerians are saddened with the passing to the great beyond of a traditional ruler for excellence, a dedicated leader, a teacher, and an exceptional civil servant, and a unique individual. His Royal Highness Alhaji Mohammed Kabir Umar, CON, the Emir of Katagum. The testimony concerning his person was that of a pragmatic and ardent believer in justice and fairness. The Emir of Katagum was born in 1934 to the famous Umar ruling family, the 10th Emir of Katagum. Worthy of note is that the Emir of Katagum was enrolled in Bauchi Middle School in 1944, and based on his display of rare intelligence, he was admitted to study local government administration in the United Kingdom in 1949, while in 1950 he was admitted into Clerical Training College, now Ahmadu Bello University, ABU Zaria. Furthermore, the Emir of Katagum held various positions, including scribe of the Native Authority NA Central Office Azare in 1949, district head of Sakwa in 1952 to 1956, district head of Katagum 1955 to 1957, parliamentary secretary, Ministry of Land and Survey 1957. He was elected member Northern House of Assembly 1957 to 1960, Minister of Internal Affairs, Northern Nigeria 1960 to 1966, Native Authority Councillor for Natural Resources, Katagum Native Authority 1966 to 1969, District Head of Shira 1969 to 1980, Chairman Bauchi State Housing Corporation 1976 to 1978, Chairman Bauchi State Development Board 1978, and appointed the Emir of Katagum 1980. The Emir was also a Pro-Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Yola 1983, Chairman Board of Governing Council, College of Legal and Islamic Studies, Misau, Chancellor Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta 1986 to 2001. Chancellor, Federal University of Calabar, Cross Rivers, 2001 to 2017. Significantly, the Emir of Katagum concentrated all his energy in community service, building local and national consensus, and contributed to national debate. He was also conferred with the national honors of Commander of the Niger CON in 1999 till his demise on the 9th of December 2017. The demise of this prestigious leader is not only a great loss to the people of Katagum in Bauchi State and Nigeria in particular, but to all friends in Africa and beyond. Mr. President, I pray that the minute silence be observed in honor of His Royal Highness the late Alhaji Mohammed Kabir Umar CON, the Emir of Katagum, that a high-powered delegation of the Senate be sent to condole with the family of the late Emir of Katagum, people and government of Bauchi State, and also congratulate the newly appointed Emir, His Royal Highness Alhaji Umar Farooq II, OON, a descendant of the late Emir. Your Excellency, again, we are indeed saddened with the passing of to the great beyond of a traditional title holder again, and a highly privy to the Emir of Katagum, an astute leader, a successful civil servant, a unique individual, Alhaji Sule Katagum, OFR, the Wazir in Katagum. The testimony concerning his person was that of dedication and selflessness to humanity. Alhaji Sule Katagum was born in 1927 and had attended prestigious schools both within Nigeria and outside the shore of Nigeria. Worthy of note is that he served Nigeria in various capacities with high sense of tolerance, efficiency, and flawlessness. These positions include Chairman Federal Civil Service, Chairman Police Service Commission, Chairman Citizenship Advisory Committee, Chairman Bank of Commerce and Industries, among others. Alhaji Sule Katagum was honored with the conferment of National Honors Award of OFR, Officer of the Federal Republic. The demise of this important personality is a great loss not only to the people of Katagum in Bauchi State, but the nation at large. Our prayers is that a minute silence be observed in his honor of the late Alhaji Sule Katagum, OFR, the Wazir in Katagum, and also a high-powered delegation of the Senate be sent to condole the family of the late Wazir in Katagum, the people and government of Bauchi State. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Nazir. Yeah, point of order, Senator Kuji.
Mr. President, I am Mohammed Njuma Godi, representing the Secretary. I come under Order 43. If you have my permission, I can read.
Under what? And we already have Order 43 at the moment. Pardon? Let's finish this matter, then we'll have your Order 43. No, you can't. Let me finish Order 43 that you have covered. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Nazir has come. If you wanted to contribute, you should have come under a motion. He has come under 43, which is a partial explanation. And there can be, under our rules, there cannot be any contributions on Order 43. So, what I will seek is that we please do get up and observe a minute silence in honor of Alhaji Sule Katagum was in category in line with your Order 43 that you have come up. Okay. And the Emir too as well. Distinguished colleagues, maybe rise and reserve. 1 second. To souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. Yes, point of order, Senator. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Njuma Godi, a representative of the Central. Order 43 allows senators to make personal explanation. And if by this provision, if you allow me, I would like to make explanation on issues. Although we have just passed the issue of the demise of these two important people, I still want to make personal explanation on them using the provision of Order 43. If you so agree.
Go ahead, let me hear your personal explanation.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to whatever my colleague, Senator Nazif, said, these two very important personalities are very, very important in the sense that the two of them have been players in the affairs of this country right from the First Republic. The late Emir of Katagum was a minister in the First Republic, in addition to being the Emir. And Raisele Katagum had been the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission for the First Republic through the Gao regime up to the Mutara regime. They have impacted positively on the lives of Nigerians, particularly we in that part of the country, Northeast. So, especially we coming from the Bauchi State, which was Bauchi State there, I feel that Nigerians have lost very important men, great men, and God has given them long lives. The Emir died at the age of 89, Silekatagun died at the age of 96. And I feel I'm duty bound to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them a Jannah Firdaus. I also pray to Allah to bless their children, grandchildren, and to give all of us, their followers, their children, their supporters, their admirers, the fortune to bear this loss. May God grant them a Jannah Firdaus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, both Senator Nazif and also Senator Guji, on your contributions. And definitely already, I know a delegation had gone on behalf to convey our condolences to the family for these two illustrious sons of this country that have contributed so much to the development of Almighty Allah. Grant them our Jannah Firdaus. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Stamp Duties Act Amendment Bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Stamp Duties Act Amendment Bill 2017, HB 889, first reading.
Stamp Duties Act Amendment Bill 2017, HB 889, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2017. Mr. President, we wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2017, HB 364 and HB 656, first reading.
Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2017, HB 364 and 656, first reading taken. Leader of Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Emmanuel Buachi on the National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2017, SB 556, first reading.
National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2017, SB 556, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues,
The fourth business of the day is the presentation of bill standing in the name of Senator Dino Melai on the Chartered Institute of Forensic Accountants of Nigeria Bill 2017. Mr. President, may we invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of it.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Chartered Institute of Forensic Accountants of Nigeria Bill 2017, SB 581, first reading.
Chartered Institute of Forensic Accountants of Nigeria Bill 2017, SB 581, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Stella Odwell on the Investment Assurance Bill 2017. Mr. President, may we invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Investment Assurance Bill 2017, SB 587, first reading.
Investment Assurances Bill 2017, SB 587, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Ayele Omogunwa on the Nigerian Coast Guard Establishment, etc. Bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Coast Guard Establishment, etc. Bill 2017, SB 579, first reading.
Nigerian Coast Guard Establishment, etc. Bill 2017, SB 579, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the seventh business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on Oil and Gas Export Free Zone Act, CAP D5 LFN 2011 Amendment Bill 2017. Mr. President, may we invite Senator Sabo Mohammed, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Sabo Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Sabo Mohammed, representing Jigawa Southwest. That the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on Oil and Gas Export Free Zone Act CAP D5 LF and 2011 Amendment Bill 2017 SB6. I so move.
Senator Raji Razaki.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate will receive the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the Oil and Gas Export Free Zone Act, CAP B5 LFN 2011 Amendment Bill 2017. I so second.
Senator, those in favor that the Senate do receive report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the Oil and Gas Export Free Zone Act, CAP D5 LFN 2011 Amendment Bill 27 SB 6. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Sabo Mohammed, come and lead the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the eighth business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition in respect of A, petition from Mr. T.D. Nwoha against Nigeria Police Force NPF for alleged unlawful dismissal from the force. B, petition from Mr. Esenwa Chukwuemeka Leonard against Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC for alleged wrongful termination of his appointment by the corporation. C, petition from Onwuka Egu and Co. on behalf of Chief Victor Amadi and 3 others against the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex Management Board and the executives of the Auto Spare Parts and Machinery Dealers Association for the illegal sale of spaces and erection of structures within the ASPMDA section in the Trade Fair Complex. D. Petition from Christopher A. H. Esquire on behalf of Major Ali Abdullah retired against the Chief of Army Staff and the Minister of Defense for refusing to pay him a judgment sum of 25.3 million naira awarded in his favor. E. Petition from Mr. Elo Meme, Austin, and 70 other staff of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for alleged wrongful retirement from the agency. F. Petition from Corporal Obinna Ogu against the Nigeria Police Force for alleged wrongful dismissal from the force. And G. Petition from Dr. Adedapo D. Aladesemi against the Police Service Commission for refusing to issue him a letter of appointment after completing police training. Mr. President, may we invite very distinguished Senator Samuel Anyau, Chairman of the committee, to hold the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Samayo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. Sam Anyau, Imo East. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, with the leave of Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive the reports of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions in respect of A. Petition from Mr. Chidi Moha against Nigerian Police Force for alleged unlawful dismissal from the force. B. Petition from Mr. Esenwa Chukwemeka Leonard against the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for alleged wrongful termination of his appointment by the corporation. C. Petition from Onwuka Ebu and Klo on behalf of Chief Victor Amadi and 3 others against Lagos International Trade Fair Complex Management Board and the executives of Auto Spare Parts and Machinery Dealers Association for the illegal sale of spaces and erection of structures within the Aspada section in the Trade Fair Complex. D. Petition from Christopher A. Iche Esquire on behalf of Major Ali Abdullahi retired against the Chief of Army Staff and the Minister of Defense for refusing to pay him a judgment sum of 25.3 million awarded in his favor. E. Petition from Mr. Edomene Austin and 70 other staff of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for alleged wrongful retirement from the agency. F. Petition from Corporal Obinna Ogu against the Nigerian Police Force for alleged wrongful dismissal from the force. Finally, G. Petition from Dr. Adedeku O. Aladesemi against the Nigerian Police Service Commission for refusing to issue him a letter of appointment after completing police training. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Shiusani Kaduna Central.
I stand as Comrade Senator Shiusani to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions as stated by A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I so move. I say second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the reports of the Committee on Ethics, Privilege and Public Petition in respect of the petition as listed by the Chairman of Ethics say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Samayo, come and lead the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion requesting Senate to consider the request of Mr. President C&C for the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as chairman and members of the Court of Conduct Bureau in accordance with the Section 154, Subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and Section 1, Subsection 2 and 3 of the Court of Conduct Bureau Act. The The names are 1. Dr. Mohammed Isa, Chairman, Jigawa Northwest. 2. Murtala Kankia, Member, Katsina Northwest. 3. Emmanuel E. Atta, Member, Cross River South. 4. Danju Masado, Member, Edo South. 5. Ubulo I of Panachi, Member, Kogi North Central. 6. Ken Madaki Alkali, Member, Nasarawa North Central. 7. Professor S.F. Ogundare, Member, Oyo Southwest. 8. Honorable Ganiyu Hamzat, Member, Ogun Southwest. 9. Saad A. Abubakar, Member, Gombe Northeast. And 10. Dr. Vincent Mwali, Member, Ebonyi Southeast. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President CNC to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of Mr. President CNC be referred to the appropriate committee for further legislative action. I so move. Okay, minority.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the leader that the Senate do consider the request of the CNC in respect of this code of conduct. I so support.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The matter is referred to Committee of Ethics and Privileges and report back in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Mohammed Hassan on the urgent need to investigate and curtail the ongoing monumental economic waste at the Nigerian Customs Service. Mr. President, you recall that on Tuesday, 19th December 2017, the Senate by Order 42/2 of our standing order approved that this motion be moved on the next legislative day, which is today. Accordingly, you may wish to invite Senator Mohammed Hassan to move the motion.
Senator Mohammed Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I am Mohammed Hassan, representing Yobe South Senatorial District. I rise to move this very important motion for an urgent need to investigate and curtail the ongoing monumental economic waste at the Nigerian Customs Service. The Senate notes with great displeasure reports showing that the Nigerian Customs Service currently has in its warehouses loads of seized perishable goods of high economic value. This includes food items, goods obviously seized from commercial traders. The Senate acknowledges that it is the duty of the Customs Service to ensure that contraband goods do not make their way into the Nigerian market through illegal importation. The Senate observes that this objective is to develop the Nigerian market and avoid Nigeria becoming a dumping ground for contraband items. This is also to ensure economic efficiency, growth, and development. The Senate further notes that this objective is, however, fully defeated if it leads to hardship, inefficiency, waste, and destruction of value. A reason the Customs Service in the past had adopted the practice of auctioning these items for more efficient use of the seized goods, especially with the high level of economic hardship that our people are facing at the moment. The Senate observes that this practice denies the offenders the benefit of the economic value of the items and ensures that the country's value in the transaction is not completely destroyed as a result. The Senate also notes that these reports indicate that the customs warehouses in Kano Katsina, Sokoto, Maiduguri, Western Marine Lagos, Eastern Marine Port Harcourt, and Zone C Federal Operations, Owerri and Port Harcourt, are currently filled with these seized perishable items and rotting away at great cost to the economy, our people, and the nation in general. The Senate notes with dismay that these items, which ought to have been kept for only a very, very short period of time, are now being kept for so long in the customs warehouses, amounting to large economic waste. The Senate notes that prior to now, these goods, when seized, were auctioned by the customs to the general public. However, these auctions are rarely done in recent times, and these reports show that the custom warehouses are brimming with almost spoiled goods while people are dying of hunger. The Senate observes that in these desperate times when hunger is prevalent in the country, the public auctions ought to be done more efficiently to help alleviate the hunger situation rather than have these goods waste away in badly stored conditions at these warehouses. The Senate observes that it is also not in the general interest of our economy to contain this waste, hence the need for customs to decongest its warehouses and turn this waste to useful gain for the Nigerian people. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the veracity of these claims and advise the Senate accordingly. I so move.
Senator Barrow Jibril.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barrow Jibril. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, I stand to second this motion and also commend the mover of this motion because of its importance. It is quite known and appreciated that the custom is doing its work in confiscating. These goods are not supposed to have been imported into the country. It's a good part of his job and he's doing it properly. But the aim is defeated when these goods that are perishable items are being left in the warehouses of customs and they get spoiled. It therefore shows that, as I said earlier, the aim is fully defeated. Before now, I know, whenever these items were confiscated from smugglers, they were auctioned at an appropriate time. But the situation where these goods are left in the warehouses got spoiled, and then the customs has to pay money in order to get these items that will become nuisance in terms of even havoc. They create havoc to the health of the custom decide to auction these items. They go online to do that. We'll be complaining that this is not quite proper in view of the fact that people are yet to fully get involved in using the ICT. Not everybody. Only the educator can do that. And we have several business people who don't have access to internet or who do not even have the knowledge of using the internet. As we speak, my people, particularly in Kano, have been shortchanged in this respect. They are Nigerians, they are business people. Some of these people that used to buy, confiscated items from customs, now they can't do that because they have been told, they are told that they should buy these items online. So I want to see the opportunity to call on customs to understand the fact that not everyone has access to internet and not everyone has the education to use to buy items online. So with this, I want to call on customs to change their attitudes towards the way they run their affairs in respect to these items that are being confiscated and that are also perishable items. It's not proper to confiscate these items and then allow them to perish, without being used. It's an economic, it doesn't make sense economically. Thank you, Mr. President.
This is a straightforward motion. You just go to the prayer to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the rest of these claims and advise the Senate accordingly. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Fatima Rajira Saki on the proposed sale of the National Theatre and the Tafawa Balewa Square Lagos by the Federal Government of Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Fatima Rajira Saki to move the motion.
Senator Fatima Rajira Saki.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Fatima Rajira Saki, representing the Central Senatorial District. I rise to move this important motion on the proposed sale of the National Theatre and the Tafawa Balewa Square Lagos by the Federal Government of Nigeria. The Senate knows that the media is awash about the sale of assets belonging to the federal government, which include the National Theatre and Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos, to raise more funds to finance the 2018 budget. More than 3 national dailies reported this matter on the 28th November 2017. The Nation, that is page 5 of The Nation, The Leadership, page 1, The Daily Sun, page 2. The Senate is concerned that the Tafawa Balewa Square represents the landmark on which Nigeria got the instrument of nationhood at the ceremony on the morning of 1st October 1960, where the Union Jack was lowered down and the green-white-green national flag was raised and hosted. Senate is informed that the National Theatre specifically built to host the second Black African Arts Festival, named the Festival of Arts and Culture, FESTA 77, where all Black people across the globe gather to celebrate the uniqueness of the Black race. The Senate is concerned that these institutions and structures occupy an historical landmark, monument, and mnemonic of our nationhood, desires, and attainments. These economic and cultural values are immeasurable to our cultural pride and symbol of nationhood that can be used readily as tourist attraction and also for the teaching of history and civic studies. The Senate is informed that the final symbol of transfer of power from colonial rule to independence took place at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Therefore, instead of disposing these edifices of private use to private use, the federal government can look for other alternative sources of developing the Tafawa Balewa Square into profit-making tourist attraction. The TBS is the threshold of our new life as Nigerians will not be disposed of. The Senate therefore recalls that in the discussion towards the 2018 budget, the Senate has approved a loan facility for the federal government to finance the 2018 budget. The transfer of power from the military to the Second Republic was also at the Tafawa Balewa Square when General Obasanjo handed over power to elected President Shehu Shagari on 1st of October 1979. The National Theatre, with all its facilities, represents a landmark of history, the congregation of all Black people of the world, which today may be difficult to repeat. It is a place of history, memory, and a memorial to the Black people of the world. The Senate is informed that nowhere in the world did any nation dispose of the symbol of its nationhood and attainment. The United States of America cherishes its attainment of independence as the structures relating to its independence are under the National Park Service as monuments to cherish and behold. The They are all places of tourist attraction. The Senate is worried that several successful attempts were made in the past to sell off the Tafawa Balewa Square and the National Theatre under some disguise. To permanently block any other such attempt now and the future, the Tafawa Balewa Square and the National Theatre should be declared national monuments, including the State House, Presidential Lodge, Marina, Lagos. The Senate understands that in other nations, the houses of presidents of past leaders, especially the first set of our rulers, were declared national monuments. The Lord Duga House in Lokoja are national monuments, while the residence of our fourth Prime Minister, Atonikon, is yet to be declared national monuments. The house of colonial governor of Eastern Nigeria in Calabar is a national monument. If you had continued in that line, in which we recognize the importance and history of our colonial master, why not our own independence? It is for this reason, therefore, that I personally move that the plan by the federal government to sell this structure should not be allowed to continue. The Senate therefore resolved to call on the federal government as a matter of urgency to stop the planned sales of the TBS and National Theatre. 2. Declare TBS, National Theatre, the Presidential House at Marina, the Prime Minister's Lodge, Onikon, and the National Assembly Complex, Lagos, as national monuments. 3. Direct the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture with immediate effect develop these areas into a viable tourist attraction for the country. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Shehu Sani.
Mr. President, I stand as Comrade Senator Shehu Sani to ably lend my voice and to second the motion ably raised by Senator Raji Rasaki. I am here to oppose the proposed sale of the National Theatre and also the Tafawa Balewa Square. National Theatre, Igamu, and the Tafawa Balewa Square are components of our history and culture. They are relics of our history for which we must in every way preserve. Mr. President, it is very clear there is pressure on the federal government to dispose of this monument. But these monuments are part of our soul as they are part of our history. Those who wish to buy such properties are at liberty to build their own and not to auction such a very important aspect of our history. These are monuments, if we can commit resources, time and energy to bring them back to shape, they are very much tourist attractions for our people and for those who are visiting Nigeria. Mr. President, even the idea of selling this monument stands against all attempts we are doing at this very time to promote tourism. National Theatre, Igamu, and Tafawa Balewa Square are not for sale and should not be for sale. It is a fact that they represent a very historic component of our past, for which selling them off will be like selling our soul. Mr. President, I will say this. Many times there have always been this thinking that it is only when we dispose of government properties that in every way we can make money. But I know it very well that when you sell the National Theatre Igamu and the Tafawa Balewa Square, they are simply going to be turned into shopping complex. And we have had enough of this.
the points raised in this motion is the fact that there are historical issues attached to this, for which if we tend to sell it off to private investors, it's not going to be again a theater for plays, for poetry, for the promotion of our culture and for tourism. And also the very fact that Tafawa Balewa Square represents the first national parliament where Nigeria's independence was negotiated and at the same time independence handed over to our people. It is very bad that at this time we cannot commit resources for all these things here. We always think that private capitalists can do the magic that we can't. But we have seen it with the privatization of PHN. Has it translated into power and more electricity? It has not. We have seen how public corporations were sold off to families and friends by government of the past, and they have not been able to provide the anticipated revenue and also the services they were tended to provide. I would say this motion comes at the right time. It is sending a clear message that an aspect of our history is up for auction. We are here. We travel to all parts of the world to see how nations of the world preserve their history, preserve their culture, invest in keeping alive all these historical artifacts and relics. But here we are talking about how we can dispose of these facts, these monuments, these relics, and at the end of the day, maintenance and investment in this doesn't take much for us to do. So as far as I'm concerned, this motion is a clear signal that we will not, for people like me and others who share my ideas, we will not accept our national monument put to auction. And I so move. And I so second. Thank you very much.
Senator Dinamilai.
Mr. President, my very respected colleagues, Dino Melaye, Kogi West. Mr. President, I want to appreciate my colleague, Senator Raji Rasaki, for this very patriotic motion. Mr. President, it is pathetic that as a nation, we want to rewrite our history in the wrong direction by privatizing those historical and cultural edifices that explain the history and heritage of our nation. Mr. President, it is okay for government and the Bureau for Public Enterprise to sell our stadiums because they are malfunctioning or because they are not being properly handled. It is okay for us to sell our petrochemical industries. It is okay to sell our power plants and the power energy sector of this country. It is okay, Mr. President, to sell NITEL, our telecommunication outfit. It is okay to privatize our national carrier if we have any. But it is sacrilegious. It is unacceptable. It is nefarious. It is wicked for us to sell our cultural and historical heritage. Mr. President, our children and generations yet unborn, may it not be recorded in history that it is under our watch as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that the National Theatre and Tafawa Balewa Square was sold under our very eyes.
And Mr. President, from antecedents, we have seen in this country that our national institutions are being sold for less than 10% of their worth to friends and cronies of those in power. Mr. President, my conscience will not allow me to keep quiet while the properties of the Talakawas, the Mekunos, and the poor of this country is being stolen away under the guise of privatization. Mr. President, I was in the National Theatre less than 2 weeks ago, where the Nigerian Nollywood Legend Organization organized an award. Mr. President, if you visit the National Theatre, you will weep for Nigeria. The National Theatre in Ghana is, as I speak to you, Mr. President, generating the 4th largest income for Ghana. And cultural heritage and tradition of the Ghanaian people is being projected periodically through the instrumentality of the National Theatre. How on earth, if not myopism, if not parochialism, Mr. President, if not intellectual stagnancy, how do we call a place National Theatre and then you want to sell it? It's like selling the right of your currency. Mr. President, we should not allow that to happen. I want to appeal to the Senate that this should be stopped. Not only that, we need to enhance the usage of these national monuments. And Senator Saki listed some institutions. I want to add to it when we come for additional prayers that the Dodon Barracks should be included in the national monuments that must not be sold because of their historical value, because of their history, because of the heritage of this country, and because of upcoming generations. What do we have to tell our grandchildren? Where we will take them to when we say the decision for independence of Nigeria was taken? Where do you take them to? By that time, it would have been given to friends and cronies of those in power, and it will not be recoverable. Mr. President, today in this country, you have no official residence as President of the Nigerian Senate because the House of the Senate President has been sold. Today, Ekweremadu is moving from one place to another because the official residence of the Deputy Senate President has been sold. Mr. President, enough is enough. Places with historical value, places with historical heritage must be preserved for generations yet unborn. And if they decide to go ahead, Mr. President, some of us will lead Nigerians on the streets to vehemently resist this. I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator, do you have anything to add to?
Thank you, Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, and thank Mr. President for giving me this opportunity. Mr. President, I want to first of all thank Honorable Senator Rajin Asaki, like other earlier speakers, because if she hadn't brought this thing to the front burner, this is another event that would have gone quietly and nobody will notice it. We would only begin to discuss it when it's been sold, contracts have been entered, and it will be difficult to reverse. So I commend her for being proactive by bringing this motion this afternoon. Mr. President, like earlier speakers have said, selling some of these monuments, like in the United States of America, they put the Statue of Liberty for sale. Or you go to France and you sell the Eiffel Tower. Mr. President, we are not making sense in this country. And the problem, Mr. President, is why don't we try and find out who advises government on these kind of issues? Any chief executive that comes finds a way of making money. He finds that
whatever is within his jurisdiction, he creates a means to make money out of it at the expense of Nigerians. We need to stop this attitude. The National Theatre, Mr. President, has the capacity to even generate revenue. Like Dino had said, the worst case scenario, if government is finding funding a problem, is even concession it for a short period so that the people they can operate it and transfer it back to government. Assuming there's even a need and there's a funding problem, it can be concession for a certain time, and this thing is reverted back to government without touching all the historical aspects or lyrics in it. So, Mr. President, I join all earlier speakers in condemning this, and not only condemning it and stopping it, we must investigate where this thought of even selling this thing originates from, so that in future, people will just wake up and say they are selling national assets and national monuments. These are the history of this country. We cannot just throw away our history. Any nation that does not have a sense of history will not know where it's going. We must keep things in institutional memories that will remind us where we're coming from and where we are heading to. So with this new reminder, Mr. President, I join earlier speakers in stopping and condemning this act of selling our national assets. Thank you.
Go to the prayers. Yes? Okay, prayer one. Prayer one calls on the federal government as a matter of urgency to stop the planned sale of the TBS and National Theatre. Senator Raji Azaki, yeah, is it that the sale is about to take place, or are they about to sell it? Huh? All right. Okay, prayer one. Call on federal government as a matter of urgency to stop the planned sale of TBS and National Theatre. Those in favor of prayer one say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer two. With prayer two. Yes.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, my amendment to prayer two is that prayer two read thus: declare the TBS National Theatre, the President's House at Marina, the Prime Minister's Lodge at Onikon, and the Dodon Barracks, National Assembly Complex, Lagos, and Dodon Barracks as national monuments, and also to stop their sales.
Distinguished colleagues, this issue on national monument, I mean, don't we believe that is a matter that should be well looked into and see, because there might be other institutions. So I think it's a bigger issue. I think maybe the prayer is to ask the committee to look into institutions or buildings that we think should be national and then bring it here for us to take a position on it. Is that, So if we can, somebody move a motion so that we can, yes, Senator Mao.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I amend the second prayer to read that the Committee on Culture and Tourism should be mandated to articulate all the buildings and edifices that will be identified that will be declared as national monuments, that will be classified as national monuments and bring back to the floor within 1 month. No, 1 week. Are you going to be here?
Can you get a second? Senator Samayao.
Samayao Imo East. I rise to second the amendment of the prayer number 2 as put by Senator Bawo.
So prayer number 2 as amended will read: the Committee on Culture is mandated to identify all buildings that are to be classified as national monuments and bring before us within 1 month. Those in favor of prayer 2 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, direct the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to immediately develop these areas into viable tourist attraction for the country. Those in favor. Is it overtaken?
sorry, Mr. President, except we will also amend it by removing and specifying national theater and TBS, because I had already directed that they should do a holistic job to bring other items, other buildings that are not captured here.
So, yeah, let's amend it and be specific to National Theatre and TBS. Okay, can I get someone to second the amendment? Second, Senator Samayan again.
I rise to second the amendment of the prayer number 3.
The Distinguished colleague, prayer 3 as amended to redirect the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to immediately develop the TBS and National Theatre to a viable tourist attraction for the country. Those in favor of prayer 3 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Raji Razaki, for bringing this important motion where we all agree that we must do our best to ensure we continue to preserve our national heritage and ensure that we do our best to see that we recognize some of these assets as national monuments. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is second reading of an executive bill for the Federal Institute of Industrial Research Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber yesterday, Tuesday, the 19th of December 2017. Mr. President, with your permission, I move that the bill be read a second time.
Continue. Go on, leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the Federal Institute of Industrial Research Establishment Bill 2017, which was read for the first time on Tuesday, the 19th of December 2017. The bill seeks to provide for the establishment of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research to, among other things, conduct industrial research up to pilot scale level and establish catalytic model factories for the development of micro, medium, and large-scale industries in Nigeria. The Federal Institute of Industrial Research was established following a report by the World Bank as an outcome of a comprehensive economic survey carried out on Nigeria, in which it identified a poor orientation with regard to industrial research, as well as a recommendation in that direction. The Institute for Applied Technical Research was established in 1956. It was vested with the task of undertaking research into the properties, commercial potentials, and processing of local raw materials. IATR subsequently underwent a change of nomenclature in 1958 to become the Federal Institute of Industrial Research to more clearly reflect its field of activities. The Institute has a broad mandate of accelerating industrialization in Nigeria and has over the years developed technologies that have promoted the ideals of entrepreneurship development, as well as 1. Carry out basic research into the raw materials available in Nigeria for use in industry and the processes which can be used most effectively to convert them. 2. Carry out pilot-scale trials of processes found in the laboratory to be technically feasible. 3. Calculate by means of large-scale tests or otherwise the probable viability of such processes if established on a pilot scale. 4. Identifying and characterizing local raw materials for use in industries. 5. Develop appropriate technologies, upgrading indigenous technologies in the area of food and agro-allied processing and in various non-food use. And 6. Develop pilot-scale operations. 7. Assist in the transfer adaptation and utilization of these technologies by local enterprises. And 8, undertake economic evaluation of projects and consultancy services. Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, Nigeria, like other countries, apparently recognizes the fact that the mastery of science and technology is a vital necessity for meaningful development. The acknowledgement of the role of science, scientific research, and development, R&D, as one of the major instruments for transforming a developing country into a developed one. The objective of the Institute, among others, are A, conduct industrial research up to pilot scale level and establish catalytic model factories for developing micro, medium, and large scale industries in Nigeria. B, assist in accelerating the industrialization of the Nigerian economy through research programs and technology development. C, identify, characterize, develop, and utilize available raw materials into forms suitable for utilization by industries. D, promote the establishment and growth of intermediate product industries. E, identify indigenous technologies in the areas of foods and non-foods processing and develop them into modern technology. F, conduct research and development, foods and agro-allied processing technology. And G, assist in the transfer, adaptation, and utilization of technologies by industries through organized technology transfer and technology entrepreneurship development programs and other means that will ensure the end result of research carried out to get to the relevant end users for rapid industrialization and socio-economic growth of Nigeria. This bill will give legal backing and teeth to the activities of the Institute. It is humbly presented for passage into law. The Institute has achieved a lot scientifically and has recorded considerable accomplishments by way of technological breakthroughs and inventions to its credit. FIIR is widely acknowledged as being the most successful of the 4 national industrial research institutes with regard to innovational output in Nigeria and have locally sourced alternative raw materials for our industries, thereby conserving foreign exchange through adequate food processing techniques, have improved the nutritional content of our food intake, and with locally fabricated machines, equipment, and many more. The Institute has been operating administratively for several years with the required personnel in place. It has its operational office in Abuja and has received a fair share of our annual budget as appropriated by the National Assembly for several years. There will not be any new financial requirements arising from the operations of this bill. Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the Institute has already put in place a functional, efficient, and effective administrative duties and alive to its duties. This bill is therefore necessary to give the Institute a regulatory and legal framework to function and network in and across our borders as a legal entity empowered by our laws to conduct research and development. I therefore urge you all, my colleagues, to support this bill for second reading. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you. Senator Borofice.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Borofice. I represent the North Senatorial District. I rise to support this motion led by the Senate leader on the establishment of Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodu. Mr. President, this is one of the oldest research institutes in the country that has impacted greatly on the issues of diversification of the economy, employment provision, and promoting industrialization. I wish to remind my colleagues that it was Pharaoh that pioneered the substitution of sorghum and the local material for the production of beer in Nigeria. And if you look at it, that has saved Nigeria billions of naira. Because before then, the brewing industry relied wholly on imported barley for the brewing industry. It is also Pharaoh that has pioneered the 10% cassava constituent bread, which the federal government has also approved. Pharaoh also has been able to pioneer the technology of converting the local government to Dawadawa, which Leslie also has adopted. So we can, list a number of research and development that FIRO has carried out successfully. As we speak, there are about 150 completed technologies on the shelf in FIRO ready for commercialization. It's therefore very important for us to back up the activities of this institute legally by approving this bill. I therefore rise to second this, and I also appeal to my colleagues to support this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is anybody against this bill? Okay, well, thank you, distinguished colleagues, for your contribution. Let me just quickly add that the fastest way to our economic recovery and progress lies in industrialization of this country. And we cannot be talking about industrialization without appropriate research to lay the necessary foundation for the growth of our economy through industrialization and manufacturing. So I think that this bill is coming at the right time, now that we're talking about diversification of our economy. So having said this, again, I would like to thank all those who contributed, and now we'll go for second reading. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators.
Those who support that this bill will be read a second time, say aye. Those against the ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Foreign Institute of Industrial Research for the development of macro, small, medium, and large industries aimed at rapid and for other related matters derived 2017 second reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Institute of Industrial Research for development of micro, small, medium, and large industries aimed at rapid industrialization and socio-economic development of Nigeria and for other related matters thereto, 2017 SB 585, second reading, taken. Refer to the Committee on Science and Technology to report back in 2 weeks. Mr. Leader.
Mr. President, and my distinguished league, the fifth order of the day is the second reading of the Nursing and Midwifery Registration Act 143, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Amendment of 2017. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 22nd day of March 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite former Governor, distinguished Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, distinguished senators, permit me to lead the debate on a bill for an act to amend Nursing and Midwifery Registration (ETC) Act Cap 143, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The primary objectives of the bill is to ensure high quality of nursing and midwifery education in Nigeria, maintain high standard of professional nursing and midwifery practice, and enforce discipline within the profession. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my very respected colleagues, let me use this opportunity to highlight the background of the bill, which I believe will not only provide a justification for this laudable legislative initiative, but will also motivate this chamber and indeed the National Assembly to accelerate the legislative process of passing this bill into law. Background. The Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria is a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Health, established by Decree number 89, 1979, now known as Nursing and Midwifery Registration, etc. Act, Cap 143, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The Act is a product of Nursing Act of 1970 and Midwives Act of 1966. Since 1979, the Act was amended in 1988, 1989, and 1992. It is the only legal, administrative, corporate, and statutory body charged with specific functions in order to ensure the delivery of safe and effective nursing and midwifery care to the public through quality education and best practices. The Council is mandated by law to regulate the standards of nursing and midwifery education and practice in Nigeria and review such standards from time to time to meet the changing health needs of the society and provide solutions. Consequently, the bill is proposed to provide these solutions to major problems faced by the Council in giving effect to provisions of the Act. Objectives of the bill. This bill seeks to, among other things, one, in the accreditation process, particularly determining teacher-student ratio, the Council shall consider graduate nurses and teachers of basic medical sciences such as physiotherapy, anatomy, etc., as part of the teaching staff of the institutions. 2. Include Bachelor of Nursing Science as part of registrable qualifications of the Council. At the moment, Bachelor of Nursing is not enjoying required recognition by the Council. 3. To allow private individuals to own private nursing schools in Nigeria. 4. To restructure the composition of the Council. 5. Redefine qualification and tenure of office of the members of the Council. 6. Review the penalty provisions. 7. Review the composition of the tribunal. 8. Give the Council timeline within which to complete indexing of students and register prospective members and issue them license. 9. Provide action notice to the Council before proceeding to the court for redress. This innovation will give the Council opportunity to minimize litigations. Content of the bill. The bill contains 22 clauses, amending sections 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 20, 21, 23, 24, 26, as well as the first and third schedules to the Principal Act. Mr. President, distinguished senators, this bill is a product of my personal experience as Governor of Kano when we are looking at the challenges of our health sector in Kano State. We realized that there were so many challenges which really made it very difficult for the state and indeed the country to have adequate nurses and midwives in this country. So in conclusion, Mr. President, in view of the inadequacies of the existing legal orders, which are currently hindering smooth implementation of the Act, and the need to remove obsolete provisions and update the provisions of the Act, there is serious need for this bill. Mr. President, honorable colleagues, permit me to stop at this point to allow for your contributions that will no doubt ensure a speedy passage of this bill into law. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Mr. Leader.
Mr. President, I think this is a very straightforward bill, and so clearly put, and everyone knows that with the health challenges that this country is facing today, we need as a Senate to create a legal framework from which we begin to define the status of health administration in this country. So while thanking distinguished Senator Rabi Musa Konkoso for this very, very important bill, I urge that we just allow this bill to be read the second time without much debate, because it's so clear and direct. Thank you.
Is there any person against this bill? Okay. Dear colleagues, those support that this bill be read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Well, I'm going to thank you again for approving this bill. We will still take the second reading of the bill. But let me also say that I'm aware, just as most of you do, that there are a number of nursing institutions all over the place without regulation or monitoring. So with this bill now, I think that the appropriate regulation, monitoring and evaluation will be put in place to ensure that they are standard in the nursing institutions that we have across the country. So I want to thank Senator Kwangwasu for coming up with this bill. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Nursing and Midwifery Act (CAP) N143 LFN 2004 to restructure the composition of the council, review penalty provisions, the composition of the tribunal, and for related matters 2017, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, the bill for an act to amend the Nursing and Midwifery Act (CAP) N143 Laws of the Federation 2004 to restructure the composition of the council, review penalty provisions, the composition of the tribunal, and for related matters 2017, second reading taken, and refer to the Committee on Health, report back in 4 weeks. State Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the sixth order of the day is the second reading of the Personal Information.
This is the Primary Health Committee.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the sixth order of the day is the second reading of the Personal Information Protection Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, the 23rd day of June 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Stella Odua to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Odua.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, my name is Stella Odua. I represent Anambra North. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, kindly permit me to lead this debate on a bill for an act to promote the protection of personal information processed by public and private bodies, to introduce information protection principles so as to establish minimum requirements for the processing of personal information. The bill seeks to give effect to the right to privacy by introducing measures to ensure that the personal information of an individual is safeguarded when it is processed by responsible parties. Was read for the first time in these chambers on Wednesday, 23rd June 2016. This bill also aims to balance the right to privacy against rights, particularly the right to access to information, and to generally protect important interests, including the free flow of information within and across the borders of Nigeria. The focus of the bill is to deal with personal data which relates to data subjects. The development of internet and computer networks has caused the amount of personal data generated to reach significant proportion. The personal data generated is kept across servers in different locations that has the potential to be shared by different legal and natural persons in a manner which the data subjects could not have contemplated at the time of the original data was obtained. In recognition of this, Mr. President, the essence of this bill, Mr. President, is to ensure and to assure that invasion you're wasting my time too. Mr. President, the essence of this bill is to ensure that invasion of our beings, our personal data is untampered with. Again, the abuse of our personal and private information, which is very fundamental to our being. Mr. President, marriages, personal relationships, and families have been broken because of invasion of our private data. And so this bill attempts to address that particular issue. And so my colleagues, I urge you to kindly support this bill in order for us to ensure that our privacy is privatized. I so submit. What is it?
I just want to arise to second this bill and support this bill in its entirety based on general principle of this bill. I think it's a very good bill. I therefore support this bill, Mr. President.
Is there anybody against the bill? Okay, I'll put the question, but let me just, for our own records, and to be sure that we're doing the correct thing. When we send the bill to the committee, they have to look at the bill vis-a-vis the provisions of the Constitution. If you look at Section 37 of the Constitution, it says that the privacy of citizens, their homes, correspondence, which is letters and all that, telephone conversations, and telegraphic communications is hereby guaranteed and protected. So have sufficient constitutional protection for what you are seeking to do. But as I said, we'll still send it to the committee to see if there are other aspects of the bill that requires a further enactment. So on this note, those support that this bill is taken a second time, say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Back of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to promote the protection of personal information processed by public and private bodies, to introduce information protection principles so as to establish minimum requirements for the processing of personal information and other matters connected thereto, 2017, second reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to promote the protection of personal information processed by public and private bodies, to introduce information processed by public and private bodies, to introduce information protection principles so as to establish minimum requirements for the processing of personal information and other matters connected therewith, 2017, second reading, taken and referred to the Committee on Information Communication Technology and Information and National Orientation, and the report back in 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the seventh order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Education Technical, Aro Chukwu, near Ohavia, Establishment Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will record that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, the 13th day of July 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the senator representing that area, distinguished Senator Mao Ahabunwa, to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Mao.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Senator Mao Ahabunwa, representing the people of Abia North, Senatorial District. Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to lead this debate on the establishment of Federal College of Education Technical, Aro Chukwu. As far as Mr. President and my fellow colleagues, just recently, our Federal Ministry of Education had a reason to express deep worry and concern over the falling standards of our education system in the nation. the ministry had to issue a standing order to its members to organize a retreat to address the prevailing educational crisis in the system. While this may be well and good and ongoing, it is necessary that we understand that the major reason for the falling standard of education in our nation derives from the increasing poor status of educators and teachers, lack of spread in the key training institutions, and of course, inadequate funding of key training institutions. All these have negative impacts in the quality and branding of young minds and students we produce from our various school environments. This particular situation, Mr. President, appears to increase and become glaring when we consider the quality of our trained teachers and lack of spread of federal colleges of education across the nation, especially in the bill is not here. Where's the bill? We don't have. What is the bill? We are waiting for the bill. Okay. Since they have started Mr. President, this bill is for the establishment of Federal College of Education Technical Arochukwu, Abia State, in line with other established technical colleges in Nigeria. Mr. President, this establishment of this institution as provided in Part 1, Section 1 of this bill first seeks to amend the Federal College of Education Act 1986 to increase by 1 the number of Federal College of Education Technical in the nation. This will not only further bridge the educational gap in the spread of existing federal colleges in the nation, but it will also advance the training and availability of competent teachers in technical fields equipped with national certificates in education, NCE, for employment in primary and junior secondary school throughout the nation. Mr. President, this is not a new institution, it's a state institution, so you can see that it does not require any compendium of, it's already an existing institution. I urge my colleagues to please support this bill to go through second reading. Thank you, Mr. President. Foster.
My dear distinguished President, distinguished colleagues, I hereby rise as Senator Foster Ogola, representing Bayelsa West. I rise to second the second reading passage of the establishment of the Federal College of Education Technical Arochukwu and for other matters connected here with 2017 SB 519. I so move and second.
Very well, thank you. Any person against the bill? All right. Those support that this bill be read second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Technical, Arochukwu, and for other matters connected therewith, 2017, second reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Technical, Arochukwu, and for other matters connected therewith, 2017, second reading taken, and referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institution and Debt Fund to report back in 4 weeks. Say leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the 8th order of the day is the second reading of the Federal Tax Force on Revenue Defaulters, Piracy, and National Heritage Protection Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 22nd day of March 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Samuel Anyanwu to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Anyanwu.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Samuel Anyanwu. I represent Imo East, Imo State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate of this very important bill for the establishment of Federal Task Force on Revenue Defaulters, Piracy, and National Heritage Protection of Nigeria. Mr. President, this bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 22nd March 2017. Mr. President, colleagues, the Federal Task Force is to generate revenue, curb piracy, tax defaulting, promote and preserve our national heritage, and among other things. If you go through them, Mr. President, you will see all the items. And this task force, Mr. President, is to assist in generating funds through defaulters' bills. Mr. President, colleagues, the task force, when operational, will generate annually for the country 320 billion in revenue, which has hitherto been lost to tax evaders. This will be a good development and succor to the federal government who are looking for money to fund the national budget. Mr. President, this bill is a very good bill. I don't want to bore my colleagues. I just want to say that I move that my colleagues support this bill to go for the second reading. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Lidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Joshua Lidani. I represent from the South. I rise to second that this bill go for second reading because the objectives for the establishment of this task force are very noble to assist in generating more revenue for the purpose to also ensure that tax defaulters are not allowed to get scot-free, and also ensure that taxes that are collected are properly accounted for. I therefore second the
Members against the bill? All right, Clerk of Senate. Colleagues, those in support that this bill will be raised second time, say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Task Force on Revenue Defaulters, Piracy, and National Heritage Protection, and for other related matters, 2017, second reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Task Force on Revenue Defaulters, Piracy, and National Heritage Protection, and for other related matters, 2017, second reading, taken and referred to the Committee on Finance and Culture and Tourism to report back in 4 weeks. Senate Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the ninth order of the day is the second reading of the National Hospital for Women and Children Act Amendment Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will record that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 17th day of May 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Larry Joshua to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Joshua.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I am Senator Larry Joshua, representing Ogun Central. I rise to move the motion for the second reading of the bill, the National Hospital for Women and Children Act, Cap N44 LFN 2004, Amendment Bill 2017. Mr. President, I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to lead this debate on the minor amendment to the National Hospital Act. The bill was read for the first time in this chamber on the 17th day of May 2016, and the bill seeks to amend the National Hospital for Women and Children Abuja Establishment, etc. Act, Cap N44, 2004, to remove the hospital from the supervision of the Presidency and place it under the Federal Ministry of Health to enhance its efficiency and effectiveness. That is the main message. And the amendment sought by this bill will give the National Hospital the right place it belongs and thereby ensure its effectiveness and efficiency. I therefore call on my colleagues to support me in amending this important act. You will all recall, my colleagues, the issue of the clinic in the Presidency that is not under the Ministry of Health. Thus, we had all the challenges and the complaints that we all had. The National Hospital is also in the same category. So that is the main message and the main request. So I appeal to all of us to please accept this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. My name is Brian Dover from Sokoto East. So this is a very important bill, and it carries only a simple amendment that will make the hospital very effective. It is non-controversial, it
and I therefore suppose that we should go ahead for the second reading immediately. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I think the presidency is overburdened. It doesn't make sense placing the health institution as important as this facility before the presidency, when the federal minister have a better infrastructure and structure to supervise this institution. So on this note, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank you for bringing this bill, and then those who had contributed. So those in support of this bill taking second time, say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Lack of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the National Hospital for Women and Children, Abuja, to effect change of the name to National Hospital, Abuja, and for related matters, 2017, second reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the National Hospital for Women and Children, Abuja, to effect change of the name to National Hospital, Abuja, and for related matters, 2017, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary, to report back in 4 weeks. Thank you. Mr. Leader.
The President on the order paper be stood down to the next legislative day. I so move. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, while seconding the motion, I want to say that yes, the order items stepped down because the movers are not here, the people who have the various bills. So on this note, Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I regret to second the motion as ably moved by the leader of the Senate. Thank you, sir.
All right, then before I put the question, I have an announcement. The ad hoc committee on economic quest at the Nigerian Customs Service, the Senator Dino Malaya chairman, Senator Bairo Nafada member, Senator Bajide Omowarare member, Senator Gilbert Naji member, Senator Mohammed Hassan member, Senator Abdullahi Adamu member, Senator Basi Abad Aban member, Senator Binta Masi Gaba member, and Senator Samuel Anyao member. Distinguished colleagues, those in support of the motion that will step down the many items on that paper to another listed, they say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Say leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, having concluded all the items on the order paper, I move that the Senate do stand adjourned to Thursday, the 21st day of December 2017 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this Senate do now stand adjourned to tomorrow, Thursday, the 21st of December 2017. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those about the prayer that the Senate do not adjourn to Thursday, the 21st day of December 2017 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate accordingly adjourned.